You know that feeling, right? If you've ever worked with data in a big company, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You need one specific piece of information, and getting it turns into this huge, epic quest. It's slow, it's way too complicated, and honestly, by the time you actually get the data, it might not even be relevant anymore. Well, today we're going to talk about a really powerful new way to fix that exact problem. It's called the multi-cloud data mesh.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to pinpoint the problem with the old way of doing things, what we call the data monolith. Then, we'll introduce this whole new way of thinking, the data mesh, and break down its 4 core principles. To make it all click, we'll walk through a real-world example, see how it plays out across different clouds, and then wrap it all up with why this is a total game changer for you and your team.
All right, first things first, let's really get to the heart of the issue. Why is data so difficult to work with? Well, it pretty much all comes down to one thing, the centralized bottleneck. I mean, this is the question, isn't it? It keeps pretty much everyone, from data engineers to business leaders, up at night. You know the data is out there, somewhere inside the company, so why does it feel like you're searching for a needle in a haystack that's inside another haystack? It's a frustration everyone can relate to. And this, right here, is the big aha moment. The problem isn't that we don't have enough data, and it's not a lack of smart people. The problem is the architecture itself. It's this traditional top-down model where one single central team is supposed to manage, clean, and serve up all the data for the entire organization. And that model, it is just fundamentally broken when you try to scale it. To really get a feel for this, I love this kitchen analogy. Think of the old data monolith like one gigantic central kitchen trying to cook every possible dish for an entire city. You've got orders for tacos, sushi, and 5-course French meals all coming in at once. The chefs are completely overwhelmed, the orders get mixed up, and the deliveries are always late. Now, contrast that with the data mesh. It's like having a bunch of amazing, specialized kitchens in every single neighborhood. The Italian place makes incredible pasta, the bakery knows bread inside and out. They are masters of their domain, but they all follow the same city health codes, so you know the quality is always there. It's just a much, much smarter way to operate. So if the old way is this one giant, overwhelmed kitchen, what's the alternative? Let's dive into this new paradigm, the data mesh. And I want to be really clear, this isn't just about a new piece of software. It is a completely different way of thinking about data itself. This is the fundamental shift. It's the big idea. Instead of having a central data team trying to be the expert on absolutely everything, we push ownership out to the people who actually know the data best. The teams that create the data, the domain experts, we empower them to own it and serve it up to everyone else. So how do you actually do this without it turning into total chaos? Well, it's all built on 4 foundational principles. 4 pillars. Let's break them down. First up, domain ownership. This sounds simple, but it is absolutely radical in practice. The team that manages customer orders, they are responsible for the orders data. The marketing team, they own the campaign data. You're putting ownership directly into the hands of the people who have the most context. No more playing that frustrating game of telephone with a central data team. Second, and this is a huge mental shift, data as a product. This means we have to stop treating data like it's just this messy exhaust that comes out the back of our applications. Instead, we start treating it like a real software product. It has a roadmap. It has quality standards, it has clear documentation, and it has an owner whose job is to make it valuable and super easy for other people to use. Okay, right about now, you might be thinking, isn't this just going to be the Wild West with every team doing its own thing? And that is a great question. That's where the third principle comes in, the self-serve data platform. A small central platform team's job isn't to manage the data anymore. Their job is to provide the tools, the shared infrastructure for storage, processing, and access that let all those domain teams build and share their data products easily and in a consistent way. They provide the standardized kitchen, not the recipes. And finally, the fourth principle, the glue that holds this whole thing together, federated computational governance. I know, that's a mouthful, but the idea is simple. It's a set of global rules, a shared rulebook for things like security, privacy, and quality that are automated and enforced by the platform itself. This is what ensures that all these different data products can actually talk to each other and be trusted by everyone. Okay, that was a lot of theory. I get it. So let's bring this down to earth and make it super concrete with an example pretty much everyone can understand, a company's orders domain. So check this out. In the data mesh model, the orders team wouldn't just dump raw data into some data lake somewhere and call it a day. No way. They would build a complete orders data product, and this table shows you exactly what that means. It's not just the raw data. It's clean, real-time data. It's got a secure API, so other teams can easily ask it questions like, what's the status of this order? It comes with a rich metadata that explains what everything means, who owns it, and where it came from. And this is crucial. It includes an SLA, a service level agreement, guaranteeing its uptime and freshness. It's a complete, reliable, trustworthy package. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does this architecture actually map onto the services we're all using every single day, especially if you're working across multiple clouds? What's so cool about this slide is it shows that you can build these data products using the tools you probably already know and love. For storage, maybe you're using S3 on AWS, or Azure Data Lake Storage, or Google Cloud Storage. For that API layer, you can use serverless tools like Lambda or Azure Functions. And for that all-important metadata, you'd use a cataloging service like AWS Glue or Google's Data Catalog. The key takeaway here is that the principles aren't tied to one specific technology. You can build this using the skills and the infrastructure you already have. All right, we've covered the problem, the principles, and even the nitty-gritty implementation. So let's bring it all home and talk about the business impact. Why does any of this actually matter to you? At the end of the day, it really just boils down to this. Adopting a data mesh means you get way faster access to data you can actually trust. It empowers your teams, giving them autonomy and ownership. And that directly sparks innovation, because people can actually build new things without waiting in some long central line. This is an approach that truly scales with your organization. And maybe best of all, it creates crystal clear accountability. You always know exactly who to talk to about a particular piece of data. It's all about moving faster and making smarter decisions. So, I'll just leave you with this final thought. This shift to a data mesh, it's really about unlocking all of that incredible value that's currently trapped inside your company's silos. It's about letting your teams turn raw, messy data into valuable, reusable products. So the only real question left is, what amazing data products are just sitting there, waiting to be built in your organization?